In this video, I'm going to simplify the essential sports science for beginner runners. I'll cover fundamentals like how to choose a pair of running shoes, how much you should run, and ways to find out your ideal running pace. This video is also a collaboration with Decathlon Run, which has both a physical event and a virtual event. The best part is that, at least for this year, the registration fee is around $10, but you get a $20 Decathlon voucher in the goodie bag. It's an annual event, so go check that out if you're interested. Links in the description if you are watching on YouTube. For those seeing me for the first time, hi there, this is Jing Zhi, founder of ALLSET, a physio and personal training company. Let's get into it. We start off with something relevant to every runner, how to choose a pair of running shoes. This is actually a topic I covered in a previous video featuring Dr. Derek, so I'm gonna do a quick summary here. The most concise solution is to base your choice on three factors: cushioning, grip, and stability. We start off by talking about cushioning because that's the one factor where making a choice is more complicated. When we talk about grip, you realize it's based more on your environment, and for stability, it's a binary thing. You either need neutral shoes or stability ones. To start you off on cushioning, it's good to know three things, two of which are stated in a systematic review done in 2020. Firstly, softer midsoles, which refers to this part of the shoe, can reduce impact forces. It also reduces loading rate, which is how fast the forces are applied to your body. Secondly, thicker midsoles can provide better cushioning effects, but they might decrease your feet's sensation of the ground. Apart from these findings, a third thing to know is that each shoe manufacturer uses their own technology for their shoes cushioning. So instead of trying out different shoes of a single brand, try out different brands before you make a purchase. That way, you get to experience which cushioning technology you really prefer. To simplify things, you can first categorize all the running shoes into training shoes and racing shoes. Training shoes tend to have more cushioning than racing shoes and are usually used for longer runs, easy runs, and recovery runs. If you're just getting one pair of shoe, this will most likely be the sort of shoe that's best for you. Racing shoes, on the other hand, typically have less cushioning. They are hence lighter and more often used for speed workouts and races. Some reasons why it's not used every day, amongst others, is because it usually runs out faster and is more demanding on your body. The next factor is grip, and how much grip you need depends on the surface you'll be running on. Specifically, if you are usually running on a track, you'll need less grip than on the road or on the trail. This means you can make do with lesser rubber outsoles, which weigh more than typical foam and gives the shoe a harsher feel under your feet. On the contrary, having more rubber outsoles not only gives you more grip, but also means that the shoe is more durable. After assessing how much grip you need, the next factor to address is stability. To find out if you need stability shoes, start off by trying out a pair of neutral shoes. This is because in a pair of neutral shoes, you run the way you naturally run, and hence, it makes for a good baseline. This chain of thought is in line with a 2022 review which states that general clinicians should recommend footwear that is lightweight, comfortable, and has minimal pronation control technology. After trying out a pair of neutral shoes, if you find that it fits you, then there's no need for you to explore stability shoes. However, if after a while you realize that you develop injuries in neutral shoes and strength conditioning doesn't help, try out a pair of stability shoes. As the name suggests, stability shoes help you with stability, and it might be your solution. The next fundamental is how to determine your shoe size. Once again, it's something Dr. Derek covered previously, so here's a quick summary. Your running shoe should typically be half to full size larger than your dress shoe, locking onto your foot at the ankle and at the middle of your foot, and not jamming any of your toes from the front or from the side. According to a research done in 2003, your foot expands slightly with every step, and this is exaggerated when running because there's more impact on each step as compared to walking. This is why you need more space in your running shoe than in your dress shoe, and although the larger size might take some getting used to, there's typically no loss of efficiency even when your toes can splay in the running shoes. The other thing to note is that racing shoes are typically tighter than training shoes, even if it's the same size by the same brand. It's meant to be that way to help you run faster, but nevertheless, make sure the shoe is not jamming your toes before you make the purchase. The last fundamental is how fast you should be when doing your runs. And to find out, there are a few options. The first way is to do a time trial, and then put your results into an online running calculator, like this one provided by Luke Humphrey, or this one provided by Macmillan Running. From here, you can find out how fast to do your easy run, your intervals, etc. The pros of this are that it's free, accessible, and you can use these figures to plan your training. The downside of this is that if you're using this method alone, it might be hard to stick to the pace when you're actually running. Also, if you live in a hot and humid place like Singapore, you might have to add between 5 to 15 seconds per km to these calculations because your pace will differ when you run in a warmer climate. This makes the pace zone slightly inaccurate, which is acceptable when you're just starting out, but in the long run, it can drastically affect your performance. The second method, which is a more accurate alternative to determining your pacing, is to do physiological assessments like the lactate threshold test and the VO2 max test. In essence, an exercise physiologist or sports scientist finds out how your body handles running at different speeds, and then he or she uses that data to calculate your pace zones. The upside of this method is accuracy, but the downside is that, like the online calculator, this accuracy is based solely on a single time trial or physiological assessment. When your fitness improves, which can happen after a few weeks of training, the pacing suggestions become less accurate. Doing such tests is also not free, so if you're going to choose it as your go-to option, it's definitely not as financially viable as other methods. Speaking of which, a more economical method is to use a smartwatch designed for runners. It uses data like your age, your maximum heart rate, and resting heart rate to give you the heart rate zones you should be running at. For example, for easy runs and recovery runs, which is what beginners should start with, you're recommended to stay in zone 2 of the Garmin and Polar's, and on the Huawei, in the aerobic zone, which is spelled out for you. As you train, your recommended pacing and heart rate zones get calibrated based on your resting heart rate improvements, and you get an updated pacing zone suggestion every time you run without doing another time trial or physiological assessment. When you're running, it also tells you what pace you're running at, as well as other details like which heart rate zone you are in. You can therefore know whether you're going too fast or too slow in real time. Above all this, you also get lots of other data which can help you track your training. This includes your splits, cadence, VO2 max, estimated race times, etc. The last upside I'll mention here is that most running smartwatches also come with a simple training plan. This is especially useful for beginners who are just looking to get started. On the whole, none of these methods make for perfect standalone solutions, and you'll be better off mixing and matching them to help you derive your pacing. For example, if you find yourself not improving by using pace zones from your watch, you can insert the pace zones recommended by the online calculator and let your smartwatch make the adjustments from there. With that, we sum up 3 fundamentals to get you started as a runner. The next videos we'll do from here include ways to write run training plan, how to plan strength training for runners, reviews of more running gears and smartwatches, etc. If you are interested, simply subscribe to the channel. For those keen to find out on the sports science we have discussed, we also have research summaries and videos on our all-in platform, so feel free to check that out. That's all for now. Till next time, take care.